I could do a seminar every week because I think I know what I'm doing for Yoshinkan Aikido, but I think there's some crossovers where I could help a lot of people. But
Yeah.
maybe I'm a prick. No one's invites me.
And I think, but outside of Yoshinkan, there's so much Aikido out there. And you've done open seminars, and everybody from all streams or branches or styles or whatever of Aikido, they've all loved it. We've all enjoyed it. And I guess the issue is you've got to get those people to be willing to make that jump. But
I can't call someone and say, hey, you had me for a seminar, I'm great. You read Angry White Pajamas? I'm great. I can't do that.
No, but that's it. This is the thing.
But I always tell people I'm like the Kevin Costner of Yoshinkan Aikido. If you invite me, I'll come. I mean, why not? I mean, if I do something at House of the One, we have a great time, have a couple beer, and we meet people, and I'm not a dickhead. It's a win-win-win-win-win. And the guys I know really well in Ontario, there's only a couple that invite me, but we have an understanding that they pay for my plane ticket, they feed me full of food and beer, which can be considerable if I'm also honest, and then in everything else we split. So if I make a certain amount of money for the weekend, the host dojo makes the same amount. And I have no problem sleeping in someone's basement.
I hope everyone is listening from dojo out there.
Well, thank you. But
to invite the Kevin Costner of Aikido.
I have no problem sleeping on someone's couch. The only time that backfired is I was in Ontario, and I had a really good friend who trained with me in Ontario, and I stayed at his house. And it was with Nick Mills. He'll remember this too. So he put us up in the kids' bedroom. So I don't know if you remember, but I'm a pretty tall guy, and so I had to sleep on this kid's bed. So I woke up in the morning. I could barely touch my knees. I was so stiff. So the next year we did it again. I thought, there's no way I'm going to stay upstairs. So I said, I'll just sleep here in the bedroom. And he had a dog. The dog's name was Eli, and Eli was unfortunately he's passed away, but Eli was a Neapolitan Mastiff. Have you ever heard of a Neapolitan Mastiff?
It's a big dog.
This thing was like a freaking horse. And I remember standing in the kitchen, and all of a sudden I was standing in the kitchen with my beer, and all of a sudden I went like that, and the dog was leaning on me. And my friend said, oh, that means he likes you. And I thought, bloody hell, thank God for that, because this thing was massive, and that's what they used to do. They used to lean up against horses to make them fall over. That's what they were bred for. This thing was massive, but I thought, no way I'm sleeping up in the kids. So I slept on the living room downstairs, this little mattress on the living room floor, which was great, except I didn't know that's where kind of Eli slept, and he spent the whole night snoring, farting, and burping. And he would get up and walk over me on the mattress, step on my head and walk over, and then snore, and I didn't get any sleep at all. So I thought, okay, next time it's Eli or the kid's bed or a hotel, I'm taking a hotel. That's a true story. I was a mess the next day, but Eli was a really great dog. Yeah, holy crap. Yeah. So, but I have no problem with that. I mean, and if I go to the UK, I stay with Neil or Phil or whatever and sleep in the One Direction bedroom. So, yeah, maybe this will start something, because I just like to help. But like I said, I mean, I don't want to say, hey, invite me. But I think I can help, and I've been told I do quite inspirational seminars and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Well, I can attest to that, 100%.
Thank you. Yeah.
If changing the way you think about Aikido, completely is something to go by.
Yeah. And there's a couple Aikikai. I mean, I've gotten more support and friendship from some Aikikai people here than I have from Yoshinkan in North America. I've done a couple friendship seminars with some Aikikai people here, and it's great. I really like it. It's kind of weird, everyone wearing hakama. It's still a bit strange for me, because I really like the hakama. So, but you have to fold it. But they're a great group, and they're really sincere. What can be better than having a bunch of sincere people on the mat? And I've got cool reaction from some people. I'm also honest. I mean, I mean, but like I said, if I show you, I've shown some people this is how we do it in Yoshinkan, and they've looked at me, and they've looked at me basically saying, "Yeah, go away, I'm fine." So I go away. I don't bother with them. There's a certain way to practice, I think, and if you want to get good at this stuff, there's ways you should practice. Be a good uke, be a good shite, And if you're a senior and the junior doesn't know what the hell they're doing, just be a good uke. Let them flounder a little bit till someone comes over. Because you got to learn this stuff by repetition. You can't, you tell someone. There's a famous Yoshinkan story. I don't know if I've mentioned to you before, but apparently someone asked Gozo Shioda, he said, "Could I ask you a question?" And Gozo Shioda said, "Sure." And the guy asked this question, and Gozo Shioda said, "What's your rank?" And the guy said, "I'm Sandan." And Gozo Shioda said, "Don't worry about that question." I mean, in Western society, that would be really rude. But in my opinion, I could be wrong, but from a martial arts standpoint, it makes so much sense, because if Gozo Shioda had answered this question, the guy would say, "Yeah, okay, great," and off he would have went. But it's the questions where you find the answer for yourself that you never forget.
And 100%.
And I learned quickly with Takeno Sensei. I would never say to him, I can't do Nikajo. He would say, "Yeah, too bad." Or I would say, "I don't know how to do Nikajo. How do you do Nikajo?" He would say, "I don't know." Because the truth is, you got to learn through your practice.
Yeah.
But if you said to him, "I have trouble doing this technique," he would say, "Oh, okay, show me." And you would do it. And then he would say, "Okay, I get it. I know. And then he would just show you. And if you didn't get it, he would do it on you. And then you would get it, because, like I said, you couldn't deny it. I mean, he threw me harder, like I said, with one hand sometimes, and when people were trying to really bash me, he threw me with one hand, and it was just like, you don't do that in the dojo, but it's like, because sometimes it was so frustrating.
Okay, got another question for you.
Okay.
Right. Can you explain to me, in words, Chikara Nuku?
The actual word Chikara is power, Nuku means like to release or let go.
Yeah.
And I the best way is learning how to, maybe if you have tension and then you let it relax when someone grabs you, and then that the difference is very subtle, if that makes sense. I mean, like holding your fist really strong and letting it go is one way to look at it, but it's subtler is more when someone grabs you, even more relaxed than, or let go of the tension. So their kind of energy, like when someone pulls a chair out when you go to sit down. If they pull it out with the right timing, even though you see them pulling it, you can't stop yourself. So it's like going to push on the door and someone opens it from the other side at the same time. You just fall into yourself. That's kind of the idea. And it's using Uke's energy against them. And they have to give you that energy. But no one grabs you, you son of a bitch. No one grabs you that way, right? So you can use that. And it's just, again, it's just another way to practice that idea of the sensitivity. And I'm okay at it, not so bad. Inoue Sensei was brilliant at it. He was just brilliant. And people have said I can do it pretty well too. So.
You think it's worth trying to practice that?
Yeah, I think you have to, but I think, the truth is, you got to be careful that it doesn't become a trick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but, you have to, if people are going to grab you, they grab you and then they don't fall for you. But the problem is, I saw once where a teacher was trying to do the technique and it didn't work, he got frustrated, so he changed his technique and really hurt the uke. Everyone said, "Oh, he's so strong." I said, "Yeah, he's an idiot." If you take uke for Takeno Sensei, you have no idea what he's going to do. I mean, if you've taken his uke enough, he has little patterns and stuff, but you have no idea. He just says punch. So you punch, and you can't punch 100%. You'll get really hurt because you can't react. You have to punch hard enough so you give him that energy, but you can react because you have only that much time to react. And it's really scary. Rashad says, I'm the same way. So, and that's when you talk about the centimeters, the distance of the idea of moving, the timing, centimeters. You move when the punch is a centimeter from your body.
Yeah.
So for one, you have to be balanced so you can move quickly, and number two, you have that experience where you don't move fast enough and you punch. One of my students, we were doing the technique, and he's a Taekwondo teacher also, and honest to God, Phil, I messed up the timing. I don't know if I was thinking of something else, and he hit me so hard in the stomach. I tried to do a kotegaeshi, and I missed it, and he almost knocked me on my ass. And I just said, oh, that was a good punch, and I walked around holding my breath, trying to keep my body up so people wouldn't see me fall over. And I still, to this day, that you tried to hurt your teacher, he gets all upset, but he's supposed to punch. When I say punch, if he hit me, I'm not going to, if you try to give me a cheap shot, that's different.
Yeah.
But then the rules have changed. And, and that's, the idea of combat. You're not going to try to stab someone just going like that. You're going to go in like that, and that's your chance. And if you train correctly, but the truth is, I'm not really sure, because all these years of martial arts, I've still never hit anyone in anger. I've come close many times, it just hasn't escalated. But I'm not going to try to punch you if you try, if I have to, I'm going to blind you or break your neck, one or the other, try and do whatever I can. I'm not going to try kotegaeshi, it's going to snap your neck. Hopefully. I'll let you know anyways. So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And does that make sense? I mean,
yeah.
But you have to, and in the beginning, if Uke has to help you and move the right way, that's fine, because it's just a training. And from, then eventually, even when you write calligraphy, you don't go like that. You see the guy, it's 1, 2, you learn the basic form. There's a method to our training. And I don't think you can go A to D. You got to go A, B, C, D, and back a little bit. And, Takano Sensei said once that I use all the time, and I wish it was my words because it's brilliant. But most people think, if you talk about a graph training, you train 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, get up, and then you have a bad day or a bad month, and then you get a little bit better, and then you get crazy with work, so you don't go for a week. But if you do that over a long time, eventually you're getting a little bit better. Mm-hmm. He says it's more like a spiral. So from the middle, you go up, 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 up. So Shodan, Sandan, Yondan, coming back to the center. And that center is the Komai. And he said, if you're going Shodan, if you get to Godan and you're still doing Komai like you were Shodan, you've missed the point. And there's training ways that we have to do that. And some of the things with Chikara Nuku, we say it's called Kokyuho. But it's still a designated way to move. And then eventually, you can throw it away. There are no rules, there are no patterns. Yeah. But only if you've got to that point. And that's just not Aikido, that's anything.
I think so, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you want to learn how to dive? Okay, let's go to the 10-meter board, just jump off and flip, see what happens. But, there's you can watch whole TV shows about people doing stupid things and getting hurt because they haven't learned how to do some of the basic things. And you'll notice when I do demonstrations, I don't usually do duck under the knees or slapping people and stuff, because I've seen people get really hurt.
It's the difference between teaching waza or individual techniques that look good and when you're teaching just principles,
Yeah. We say kata waza, and they're very different. But but you have to have someone to explain it, how they're different and what the nuance subtleties are. Some people, I just shake my head a little bit, but I'll see some people do a technique, say, and this is how you do the technique for self-defense, and they take the same basic technique and try and do it faster with a cooperative uke.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm honest. If it works, try it. If it works, I'll buy you a beer, carry your bag. I have no problem showing respect that way. And I was actually, one time I was down in Yorasu doing a demonstration with Ando at his group, and he invited another group, and I can't remember the Japanese name, and I probably wouldn't remember it anyways, but someone explained to me the translation was called River Flowing Ki Aikido. river flowing ki Aikido. And they were doing Nikajo, or our Aikikar brothers say Nikyo. I don't know what you Tomiki heretics say. It's just Kote Hinari or
Kote
something.
Mawashi, yeah.
Kote Mawashi, okay, blah, blah, blah. They were doing it from across the room.
Okay. What?
Kid you not. The teacher went like that, and this guy across the room started going screaming like he was having a baby and going down. And I'm just thinking, yeah, I want it. I want that. But, you know.
So what did you do in that instance?
Nothing. I just sat there, very good Japanese little uchi deshi way, just sat there, was, you know. Problem is, there are people that they'll make sure they use the cherry pick their ukes and stuff and this and that. And, you know, we've got some Yoshinkan guys who are doing stuff like the little bit rubber stuff too, but I'm not going to call them on it. They can do whatever they want. They've earned the right. But if you can do it on me, I'll be impressed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's the measure, especially with Aikido, where big teachers bring all their guys with them, and you know, and no one gets to touch them, no one gets to lay hands on them, and that was something that really impressed me with you, is that every time I came straight to you and asked, "Could I feel it, Sensei?" Yep, boom, every single time.
I always tell people the real mark of a real high-level Aikido guy is if they do a basic technique and it doesn't matter who the uke is and you still look good.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I can do it now. People have said I can do it. I've seen Chikara Sensei take some uke who's a 5th dan, a 3rd dan, a brown belt, and someone who's done Aikido for the first time. He's done the technique on them and he looked exactly the same. That's really high-level stuff. And I've been told I do the same.
I think so. Yeah, my teacher, Howard Sensei, when I first met him, because he came on his own, didn't know anyone, walked into a room full of 40 people who were kind of there to test him, and some of them were there, you know, to give him a hard time, and he went round every single one of them, boof, 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 dropped every one of them, and I just thought to myself, he hasn't even got an uke, and they all look like they've been, you know, some people who are a nightmare to train with, and he's making it look like a ballerina. I was thinking, yeah, that it stands out. It does stand out, and there's not many guys, you know, like you guys who can do that.
Yeah, I think you have to be prepared to fail, and it doesn't always work. Then you just got you're always a work in progress. Anyways, I mean.
Okay, I want to ask you about Gozo Shioda videos. Okay. Obviously, I've asked you this before, I know, but watching his old videos of him as the real showman on YouTube. And I'll ask you why his stuff that he's doing looks so different from everyone else in not just Yoshinkan Aikido, but all Aikido. Putting my Dai hat on, obviously much of his minimal movement, and specifically on those videos, like the way he does the Nikajo, is really, really familiar to me. Our particular stream of Dai, that's really, really familiar. I just wonder why.
I'm not really sure. I mean, the truth is, the first time I saw him do a basic technique, I just thought, what the heck was that? Because he was all hunched over, he was jumping, and I just think, you know, he's also a bit older, but I just think he was beyond the basic technique, and Yoshinkan evolved to teach the police and teach, you know, the basic movements and this and that. I'm not 100% sure he kind of did the basic movements. I never saw him do them. But that doesn't mean he didn't do them. Don't get me wrong. You'd have to talk to Jacques Paillet maybe more about that, but I never saw him do the basic move. I saw him do Taino Hinkouchi once, and it was different from the way Takino Sensei and Chikara Sensei teach it. I think it's evolved as a teaching tool, as a teaching method, and he was beyond the Kihon. If you watch old videos of him, he's jumping around and stuff and this and that, because that's the training. I think it's evolved. If you look at old videos of Yoshinkan, it's army, and it evolved. That makes sense.
I've seen people copying that.
That's the problem. You know, when you see a 50-year-old guy walking like he's a 75-year-old guy, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But if we're not careful, you start to believe your own stories. And I don't pretend to understand what Gozo Shioda Sensei was doing. I don't even really. I think I get what Takino Sensei and Chikara Sensei were doing, but I can't. You know, I mean, like I said, I tried so hard to be like Takino Sensei and Chikara Sensei. I became myself, and I'm happy with that. And I can do some of the things that Gozo Shioda was doing, but I don't pretend to really I don't know if I can verbalize it or say it in a way that it makes sense.